Hi, and welcome to Untethered with Jen Liss, the podcast that's here to help you free yourself from the crap that's holding you back so you can claim the life you're meant to live. I'm your host, Jen, and in this episode, we're going to talk about embracing your flaws and, in fact, seeing them as awesome so you can truly become Flawesome. Let's dive in. Hi, friends, it's Jen. Today is an incredibly exciting episode. Kristina Mand-Lakhiani is on the podcast, and she is the co-founder of Mindvalley, which is one of the biggest publishers in the self-development world. And I cannot wait for you to hear this conversation because she shares so many really powerful things. And first, I want to check in with you. How are you doing? How's your week going so far? It's Tuesday, second week of July. Third week of July. Where are we in July? Checking in with you. You may have heard, if you follow me on social media, that I lost my dog, Abby, this past week. My husband, Joey, and I have had Abby in our lives for over 17 years. We got her when we had gotten married. We'd been married 6 months, and this little pup has been in our lives for that long. And she's been the most amazing, spectacular dog. And we knew that the time to say goodbye was coming. It's pretty obvious when a dog is 17. And it was very obvious if you met sweet Abby that it was very near the time. And still, it's so hard. If you've ever lost a pet, lost a loved one, lost anything in your life, you know the ups and downs of grief and how difficult and challenging it can be. And she's on our hearts right now, and we loved her. And I know this is one of the biggest things that I learned, the most powerful things that I learned when my dog Moose passed away. I started reading so much on Buddhist beliefs about death and so many things about death in general. And one of the things that brought me the most peace, and I'm just going to pass along to you, because I feel it. I feel it in my heart, and I know that it is true. This is both scientific and spiritual, that time doesn't really exist. It's a construct, and therefore we can reach out to those who are no longer with us, and even those who could reach us in the future. We can reach out to them right now. We can feel the love of our loved ones. Even if they aren't present with us in this reality right now, we can reach out to them anytime. And so with my heart, I reach out to our dog Moose, who passed away last year. I reach out with my heart to my dog, Abby, who we just lost last week, and I can feel them with me in the present. And so I hope that this is a practice that maybe you already have, or maybe you can consider, or maybe it might even just raise a question in your mind about how might I be able to feel the presence of a lost fur baby or a lost loved one in the present with myself here and the now. And thank you for letting me share just a little bit of the love that I had for Abby, because she just really was a truly, truly special pup. Another thing that we can touch out and reach out to in the here and the now are our flaws. Our flaws that truly exist, all of the things about us that make us ourselves, all of those amazing things. And sometimes your flaws, often, maybe even in Kristina, our guest today's mind, arguably, your flaws are the most awesome things about you. They might be the most interesting things about you. They might be the things about you that actually are the biggest gifts that you can bring to the world. And so in this conversation with Kristina today, I want you to consider for yourself, what are those things that make me truly, truly what she calls in her brand new book that has just come out, and I highly suggest you pick up, Flawesome. So in this conversation with Kristina, we talk about facing your fears and how to face them in reality, and how to truly accept that they are part of you, and how that helps you to move forward in the best way. We talk about living your authentic truth and being truly honest with yourself, and how that honesty is your path to freedom. this conversation with Kristina. She lives in Estonia. So I believe it was 3 o'clock in the morning, my time, but I was so excited to have this conversation with her and to hear her thoughts about why she wrote this book and her journey that she has been on that led her to this point of writing this book. And I truly think you're going to take some amazing things away from this conversation. So without further ado, everyone, introducing you to the amazing Kristina Mand-Lakhiani. Hi, Kristina.
Hi, Jen. It's nice to see you this morning.
Oh, it's so lovely to see you. As my listeners are aware, you're co-founder of Mindvalley, a leading publisher in the personal growth industry, and you've dedicated so much of your life to supporting people and helping them to grow in their lives. And this podcast is called Untethered. And, my audience is primarily women, and they're seeking to learn the ways that they can recognize, truly see, and let go of the things that are holding them back from living the life that they truly want to live. And that includes living a life true to who they really are. So, having you on is just so exciting because I know you've got some amazing things to share, and you've got this new book that is coming out that I know everybody is going to want to pick up. So, to start out, Kristina, I would love to hear your journey to becoming what you call Flawesome, to putting these things down so that you can truly live your glorious, unmasked version of yourself, the one that we see and hear here today. What got you to this point?
Thank you, Jen, for your kind words about our work. Now, I'll actually probably surprise people because, first of all, I am in personal growth and transformation industry, not by choice, but by, I call it accident. I was married to Vishen since 2003. That was when he's the famous face of Mindvalley and founder of Mindvalley. So when he was starting Mindvalley, I had just moved from Estonia, given up my career in the government, which I thought will be my path in this life. And I helped him with Mindvalley. And then after some years helping, it just grew on me and became part of my life. And it is so ironic in a way how sometimes we end up on our true path, not really by accident, but without thinking or without a shame. It just happened. It was beyond me to to make it any other way. Now, when it comes to the theme of the book and accepting my flawosomeness, that was a story which took a little longer. I am a perfectionist by nature and a very ambitious type of perfectionist. I did career very quickly, very fast, very aggressively. Well, maybe aggressively is not a good word, but very, very fast and very decidedly. So that has been the theme of my life, to just go and get it. I think it's the type of other person that we all know. And of course, by the age of 40, I had achieved everything I wanted, or almost everything I wanted. At least my life was something I could be proud of. But I wasn't proud or satisfied, or actually I felt kind of lonely and a little miserable, but I had everything I wanted. And that was the point where I started feeling bad for not being more happy in my achievements. And, the fact that I wasn't happy was half the problem. The real problem was that I actually felt really bad about that. I felt like something was wrong with me, that I was broken, that, what is wrong with you? You've done everything that you needed to do. A lot of people call you an inspiration, and how dare you not to feel happy? So I guess my path to flawosomeness came through snapping or breaking. At one point, I just got so tired of feeling broken and wrong and not being what's the matter with me, that I just admitted to myself, okay, so that's what it is. That is what I am. So what can I do with that?
Yeah. It's so interesting because I think the actor Jim Carrey said that he wishes that everyone could experience fame and fortune so that they can find out that fame and fortune is not what they really want. That's not the thing that we are really, truly seeking. We're seeking so much more, and we're going to get it in a completely different way than you would go about getting fame and fortune. So what happened next for you after that point of snapping? What was it that happened next?
Well, I think that's the ironic thing about, or maybe counterintuitive thing about transformation. True transformation happens not because you're dissatisfied with what you have and you want to be better. And that's a paradigm that we're so used to. People say, your inner critic is the thing that makes you keep going. And even like marketing is built on that. You reach the pain point where you just can't handle it anymore, so you have to start changing your life. But I think it is a strange myth that we buy into. I feel that very often when you reach the point of acceptance, that's when the true healing starts happening. So the moment when I said, okay, I'm tired of showing this perfect facade to the world. I'm tired of pretending. I'm tired of trying so hard. Let me just be okay with being imperfect. And when I finally said, I'm imperfect and that's natural, not just okay, it's natural, then I got what it took, or what I needed for me to actually start changing and transforming and growing. And I think that's when I realized that I'm capable of so much more than whatever I had achieved when I was trying so hard to achieve things.
Yeah, so many women it's not just women, people are chasing this idea of perfection and really striving, and it's making a lot of us so miserable. And you were able, through this process, you were able to meet yourself. It sounds like you met yourself in who you truly are. I saw a video that you've put out that talked about, unmasking. It's like this feeling of just like putting it all down, and, for you, when that happened, like what transformed for you when you were able to finally put that down?
The funny thing is that my book is not really about me. I don't really share my story all that much. I use my life sometimes to illustrate certain points. So it's kind of an interesting experience right now to do it step by step. What happened next? I took a sabbatical from my work, and I felt like I needed a break. I needed to do nothing for a while, and then when I came back, I rediscovered. It's not like I agree, because that's the simile I use. I say about finding your path back to you and essentially meeting yourself. But if we look deeper inside this process, it's remembering who you are. I think we all know what we really are, but we are too busy. So we don't have time for that real me. Sometimes we don't have time. Sometimes we think it's inappropriate. Sometimes we think guilty, and these are the problems. So in my case, I took a sabbatical. I reimagined a lot of things. A lot of things stayed the way they were, and a lot of things changed. And that's the scary thing. That's why it's so hard to face your dragons, because usually people are afraid of two things. One of them is that you might not like what you see. It's good to focus on your beautiful facade. This is what you want people to see about you, and that's polished and perfected. But then what if what you find in the dungeon is something which you can't like? What happens then? And the other thing that I think scares people on this path is the idea that you might have to change things. Because, when it's your own truth, which is the hardest to live with, you can hear wonderful ideas and somewhere in the back of your mind think like, yeah, it would be good. It would be nice to actually do this work and maybe become better. But you can live with other people's truths at peace because it's their truths. Once you hold your own truth in your own hands, you can't close your eyes to that anymore. It won't let you sleep. And that's the scary thing, because you might suddenly realize the truth about how you feel about your work or about your relationships or about your, your body. Or whatever, and then there will be no peace from that, because this is not something that comes from outside. You don't need convincing, you just know that's what it is. So in my case, I reimagined a lot of things about my life, and I embraced being an author and a writer fully, and that was the nice part. But then we also divorced with Vision, which was a much more painful experience. Yeah, a lot of things changed, and when I started this journey, I was afraid of some of those changes. I was putting them away or putting them off as far as I could. It is how we humans are. We have a lot of social roles that we have to play, and sometimes we get so busy with those social roles, which are incredibly valuable, which pay our bills, which society appreciates, like fame, the one that you talked about, that we just don't have time to look at those other social roles which were deprioritized. And eventually that void is going to be so big that you won't be able to keep going. If you deprioritize yourself as a woman because that's inappropriate in your professional career, if you deprioritize yourself as a parent because you just don't have time, next to earning money, if you deprioritize yourself as a decent human being because you have to maintain a certain image as a celebrity or an Instagram influencer, whatever it is, or if you deprioritize your well-being as a human being with biological needs because you are, a country's hero and you have to go through brick walls to satisfy everyone else, then sooner or later, that's going to snap.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh. Thank you for going along your journey, because it has allowed you to share this wisdom with the world and to help other people who, haven't faced their dragons. They haven't met their dragons yet. And, my history, I was a cosmetologist, a hairstylist for many years. My purple hair might kind of give that away. But, my job was to help people feel beautiful. And it was outside. We're so focused on the outside. And eventually my journey has come to this inner beauty, because that's truly where it lies. But there are some dragons to potentially get through. So, I am curious to hear from your perspective. Why do we hide our inner beauty, what you call flawsomeness, instead of celebrating it? Why are we so focused on this perfect exterior instead of going to the inside? Is it because of that terror of like, what is this dragon going to look like? How fiery is it?
I would like to answer it lightly by saying, we just pick our battles. Who wants to take on the battle of explaining to the world that I'm actually okay and everybody else is crazy? But it is not as simple as that. I think it comes from our very primal need to belong, and that need is really strong. And sometimes we think that the fear or the danger is not real. I'll give a very simple example. Why are people afraid of public speaking? Because we are afraid of being rejected, of not being liked, or being humiliated, or being wronged in any way. That's why we also sometimes afraid of conflict situations or public arguments. Because it is a potential or an opportunity to be actually cast out. And while people say, but that's not a real danger, because nothing is going to happen to you if your public speaking fails. But biologically, our bodies are the same as they were in the days when being cast out did mean death. So it is a real threat. And your brain is the same as it was when we lived, 30,000 years ago, when we just started becoming humans the way we are right now. So your brain reacts the same ways. That's why heartbreak is so painful. That's why rejection or breakup with a partner is so painful, because it reminds us of that fear of death, which is very real. And because of that, we are afraid to show our true faces, because we think that we're going to be rejected. And that's the question of life and death. I think of the famous speakers, Brené Brown is the one who talks very deeply on this topic. And she's done research on that. And I call it a paradox of masks. We wear masks so that we fit in and we are liked, or the facades. But research shows that to create meaningful connections, you have to have the courage to show the true self. The real connection happens with a real person, not with a mask. We know that. We know that subconsciously, but still it is scary. It's like, if you've ever jumped with a parachute, you know logically that it's safer than driving the car to the drop zone, that your parachute has been checked and rechecked, and you have in fact two. But making that step is still scary, because your biology is still rebelling against that crazy act of I do not know, insanity.
That's actual danger.
It's actually not. Rejection is an actual danger. Statistically speaking, diving underwater is 15 times more dangerous than skydiving. And speaking on stage is a real threat to your self-esteem. It is. And, I'm not talking that you have to let those things stop you. What I'm saying is, can we be honest about our life and stop trying so hard to be perfect? Because trying to be perfect is not helping, is not working. Sometimes admitting that I'm imperfect is so much more empowering than trying hard to show your best.
Yeah, I love that you're just peeling that back and getting straight to it. This does feel dangerous. It literally does. It is an actual threat. Thank you for bringing that out and sharing that. Okay, so how can each of us be more Flawesome in our own lives?
It's a journey, and my book is a journey. But I think if I had to give only one advice, provided, like, let's say you forget about this interview and you forget to go deeper down this path, and if I was to give just one advice, then you definitely need to learn to become truly honest with yourself. And I'm not talking about honesty with the world, because it's a completely different story, but honest with yourself. And there are so many ways how our mind tricks us. I talked about how our biology is created by our primal fears, and our brain is the organ which its main function is to save you from danger. So when you face reality which is scary, your brain is going to trick you into ways to see this reality in a different way, so that it doesn't feel so scary. So we are not even aware of how we distort our own reality. And that's another topic which is so interesting, and we could go so deep into that. But I guess the simplest way to put it is the fish is never aware that it's in the water. Only we can see it from outside. So we're normally not aware of what a delusion we live in. So I invite you just to explore honesty with yourself. It's not so dangerous because it's just you, but then it is, because I just said a little earlier that once you have your own truth, you can't live with it.
It's so true. And as the great Martha Beck talks about, it's being in integrity with yourself. And there's, as you said, there's dragons to slay along that journey, but it's so worth it, because that's where true fulfillment really, really lives. So
if you don't mind, I would actually encourage people not to slay their dragons.
Oh, yeah. Tell us. What do? You befriend them? You tame them?
That's a better way. Yeah. Because you see, dragons are there. They're there for a reason, and they've done a little bit of a job, but probably not so well. So I like to make a distinction between habits, which sometimes we want to change, we need to change, and intrinsic qualities about you, which are there and which are part of you. And probably an easy example would be, if you're an introvert, you can practice being a little more outgoing, but then it's still an integral part of you. And what you exhibit to the world is just a behavior which has been learned. So rather than eradicating something which is an essential part of you, I encourage you to look your dragon in the eyes, accept that it is there, acknowledge that it is there, and learn to live with that. And maybe turn your dragon into your superpower, because you're not going to get rid of it. But what you can do, you can live with that, you can work with that, and you can actually find, and in fact, I bet that most people will discover that their biggest value comes from their scariest dragon.
Oh, what an amazing shift. I bought my niece just last week this little stuffed animal, and it was called Dragons Love Tacos, and it's a little dragon and he's eating a taco. So maybe you can feed your dragon some tacos and then it will it'll be your friend. Okay, I have one last question if I could, because I ask every single guest this question and I just love the myriad of answers that come out from this. So Kristina, where do you see the magic in the world?
The magic in children. I do not know what you meant exactly, but I think they're such an inspiration to me for many reasons. But one of the reasons is because they still wonder at the world, and wonder and curiosity, they create magic.
That is just the perfect response. I love the question because everybody has something different, and there's so much magic to be found in the world and definitely in children's eyes. Thank you so much, Kristina, for coming on the podcast and sharing all your wisdom with us.
Thank you so much for having me and for giving me this opportunity.
I would have loved to have talked to Kristina all day, but we just had that tiny short window of time to have a conversation about this topic. I highly suggest that you go and check out her book, go purchase her book. You can go to the link in the show notes, get your own copy, and read Becoming Flawesome. Some of the takeaways from the book and from this conversation that Kristina really wants to impart on you is that your dragons will not cease to exist, no matter how well you build walls of spirituality around them. The only person whose rejection you have to fear is your own. And as long as you can accept yourself, the world has no choice but to accept you as well. And if it doesn't, you won't give a damn anyway. And next, she really wants you to know that the people that you love do not need your sacrifice. They want you to be happy. And not only is your sacrifice of personal happiness pointless, but is also a heavy burden on those whom you so selflessly want to make the offering. You only have a problem with other people to the extent that you have a problem with yourself. That runs deep. Go check out this book so you can read more and more about that and more about some of the topics that we had in this conversation today. Thank you so much to Kristina for coming on the podcast. Thank you for listening to this podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, share it on social media. Kristina would love if you shared it and help to get word about her book out there. You can share it with the hashtag Becoming Flawesome. Let other people know that they can embrace their beautiful, beautiful flaws and how interesting and amazing that makes them. You just keep shining your beautiful unicorn light out there for all to see. I'll see you next time. Bye.